let's talk about area of these triangles for a second. So you may remember from before, the area of a triangle is, the formula is 1/2 base times height. And I really want to make sure that we're going over a few different things with this, that a lot of these could be the base and the height. The easiest one sometimes is where the base and the height meet at this 90-degree angle. So we would count the spaces for the base. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And kind of try to evaluate. Count the spaces for the height. And I go from the very top straight down, perpendicular to the base. And this should be review. "20 square units" or something like that. We could also do a height in a different direction. We could do a height going from C down to this side over here. It's a little trickier to do. Well, let's try to do one that is a little different. So let's take a look at something like this. A little trickier to do because we have kind of a slanted base down here. And we'd need to go perpendicular from, let's say, point P or point B straight down. It's going to be a little trickier to be able to figure that out. Don't even know if it's going to land perfectly on there. So I want to give you another strategy to use. We've talked about before finding the lengths of all the sides before, and how we were doing that was we were trying to go and make a right triangle. And then we were able to do the Pythagorean theorem of these dimensions. And we were also able to use these dimensions to help find our slope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw these in. If you don't have a piece of graph paper, you should have a piece. Should look familiar. We've been doing this a lot, mainly because I knew this unit was coming up as well. Now, what does this have to do with finding the area? So when we're thinking about this, we could easily count the blocks or find the area of this big rectangle here. The whole thing is 6 boxes, and the whole bottom is 8. So there really should be base times height, 48 boxes all within here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to basically take away all of these right triangles because it's much easier to do a right triangle, finding the area of them. So we're going to take a minute and we're going to find the area of this green triangle. We're going to find the area of this other green triangle and this other green triangle here. And we're going to take them away from 48. And what will be left will be just this triangle within here. This empty triangle that we didn't, that's left over. So let's go and do that. So the reason why I say it's easier to find of a right triangle is because I could consider this, gotta move back, my base, and this my height for this triangle right here. They have to meet at that right angle. Doesn't matter which one you called base and which one you called height. Count the blocks, but we did already on the bottom, right? Isn't it 8 blocks along? And the height looks like it's 4 blocks long just from here to here. Half of 32 is 16. So this whole triangle here is 16. Let's keep working on it, but what we're going to think about is we had 48 blocks initially. We're going to take away the 16 from that triangle, and we're left with 32 so far. And 32 is for this spot over here, the big triangle in the middle, and this right triangle over here. So let's try to do this triangle over here. Now notice, it's got a right angle. Makes sense, I think, to use this as the base, and this is the height. Looks like the height is just 2. The base is not 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8's from here all the way to there. We're just going from D all the way to there. So I've got 7 and 2. Half of 14 should be 7. So if I take this whole triangle out and subtract it out, it's 7 blocks big. And again, I'm going to go back up to this total up here. I had 48. I took away this big red triangle. Now I'm going to take away this little turquoise triangle. And lastly, I'm going to work on, let's do bright green, this triangle over here. And I can use this as my height or my base, it doesn't matter. This will be my base here. Looks like it's just 1 block long here. And this was the whole height. This was using 6. And if you can't fit it in, that's okay. You can always do it on the side. But there should be a lot of math involved to be able to get this area. 6 and 1 make 3. So this area inside here is 3 blocks big. So I took away the red, the blue, and the green triangles, and I'm left with 22. That must mean there's 22 blocks inside of that triangle right there. If you want to go up to the regular one, the first one that we did, we could actually have done this in a similar way. We got the area as 20. I'm going to erase all that work for right now. Let's box it in like we've been doing. And since that bottom one lies flat, I think we've got a rectangle by just doing 2 sides. So let's count. We talked about this whole thing being 10 before, and this whole thing now, yep, the height was 4. And let's go through this and say, okay, this whole thing is base times height for a rectangle, 10 times 4. So we're going to get 40. We're going to kind of keep a running tab. So let's get our 40 here, and let's try to find this triangle right here. Still 4. 1, 2. Doesn't matter which one you use for your base or which one you use for your height. I'm going to do half of 4 times 2. Half of 8 gives me 4 in here. So if I take this one off by subtracting 4 blocks from the 40 total in this rectangle, I'm left with 36. Let's go over and do this triangle right here. Doesn't matter which one I use for the base and the height, they have to hit at a right angle. We've got that right angle in. That 4 is that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Area of a triangle is half base times height. So half of 32 is 16. So this whole thing, if we take it off, is 16 blocks. 36 take away 16 is 20. There should be 20 blocks inside here. And we found this another way as well by doing 1/2 base times height over the whole thing. But that was easy to find because we had a flat bottom. On the other one, it wasn't so easy because it was diagonal.